What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be talking none other than my top 10 picks for the Blast Ace set. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First off, we're going to talk about is Suka's Curse. I think this is a lot of good commons, rares, and uncommons were printed in this set, and they were generally decently powered. But I think Suka Curse represents what future can happen. Depends on the deck will keep evolving in support. The fact that main it lets your non-white Digimon may Digivolve into a Sukamon in its name from your hand without paying the cost and ignoring Digievolution requirements really does come up in the future. Depends on what they print, everything like that. You can skip evolutions. You know, this can lead to being very powerful. It has a rule that treats it as a Sukamon, so this is one of the rule text boxes that makes it treat like another card, and this was very much introduced here, so that now you can have it searched, because now it's a Sukamon, and it means all your cards can grab it whenever you need to. But the fact that it has a security effect, change one of your opponent's Digimon into a white Digimon with 3000 DP and original name Sukamon until he means that this helps with future removal style of play. Especially hitting this in security can be very scary for a lot of players. Next card we're going to talk about, though, my number 9 pick is gotta be TK. So it's on play, added the top card to your security to then basically put a yellow card with vaccine in its traits. Really does help out. I think we're going to see more and more of the deck evolve as more vaccine cards come out, more stronger vaccine cards. This now bridges the gap where yellow was having a little bit of trouble catching up. Now we have access to more. But, you know, your turn when a card is added to your security stack by suspending this tamer, gain a memory. Kind of wish it was all turns this happened. It could have really added some pressure in a way that makes your opponent think of how they had to set up their board. But all in all, I think this is just a very good, solid 9 pick. This card just does what you want it to do. It kind of just helps fuel your effects. It self-fulfills its own effect, so basically TK can come in at 2 costs, choking out your opponent. It is a 3 cost, but, you know, it's definitely going to be a 2 cost when it first is played. Or if it comes in for free, you know, you set up a little decently. Next card we're going to talk about, though, is Mimi. Mimi is what a green deck wants for a tamer now. The fact that it's on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 plant, vegetation, or fairy in one of its traits among them to your hand, place the rest at the bottom of the deck. So the major thing about Mimi here is that you get to take in Mimi's ability to help synergize any of the future plant, vegetation, and fairy type that is going to be printed. Mimi's a long stay in basically any of the green decks now, because that is how they moved on to. So Bloom Lord, Rosemon, you know, all these decks that are just plant vegetation style, this is what it wants. But also it has a really powerful, your turn when a Digimon becomes suspended by an effect by suspending the tamer, gain a memory. So your HPDs, your Digizorptions, your just suspend to play a Digimon effect. All this is self-fueled by Mimi, and it's not even funny. This is just really good. I think having powerful tamers that we haven't had in a while for these colors that just seems like they kind of just been waysided. I know green hasn't had any bad support in a bit. They've had decent support and up. You know, it's always been like decent or better. And the fact that we have this is really solid. I think Mimi's a really mainstay going into a lot of 7. It's got to be Commandramon. So Commandramon is the introduction of basically a lot of the rookies that are super rares. But Commandramon is a very powerful card. This is what D Brigade's been waiting for a little bit. Same thing with High Commandramon and the whole line. There's a lot of good support, but with this Commandramon, on play, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 card with D Brigade, D Police traits among them to your hand, place the rest of the top or bottom of your deck. Really does help synergize. It lets you manipulate how you think, oh, these are all dead cards to me the next couple turns, put them to the bottom, or, you know what, these are actually pretty solid, I can use these. You know, that is really useful of an effect, and the fact that it's not restricted to just D Brigade, but it's Digi Police as well, means that the growth and potential this deck can always be is wide. As long as there's more and more stories for the Digipolice, you're going to expect more and more support. So, you know, we do have BT-15. We have, you know, the Ryuta line. That actually is a Digipolice line that now combos really nice with the Commandramon line, making the deck super synergized in a way that people weren't completely expecting. So this is really useful. And then all turns, once per turn, when this effect would leave the battle area other than by your effect by deleting one of your other Digimon with debrigade traits prevented from leaving play. So it kind of has a restrictive inheritable. Kind of sucks. I wish it was actually debrigade and Digipolice. It's like the only reason why I didn't bring it higher was because of that restriction to just debrigade. Yes, you can play kind of both, but if you want to move over to Digipolice, you needed it to have both traits. I think that would have benefited it more, but Commandramon being debrigade support, it's been a while since we've gotten really solid support for debrigade, and they definitely deserved it. Next, we're going to talk about is Fenriloogamon. So when Digivolving, you may play one level 4 or lower card with Dark Animal or SOC trait from your trash without paying its cost. If Elijah is in this Digimon's Digievolution cards, add 2 to the maximum number of the Digimon you can play by this effect. So he's introducing a style of play that just tries to go wide, and this is basically a new way of Purple wanting to do things. Purple's always been about trying to just like, you know, even going back to Patamon from the original set, Patamon wanted for an on-play spit out 2 bodies. Wasn't terrible, it was pretty decent, no on-play effects or anything like that, but Purple's always been about utilizing the trash and then spitting out bodies for your compensation of, you know, losing value. You have to decide to toss something. Well, this is just what you want to do with it. It's a very powerful card, and I think it's got a lot of potential here. Then when attacking once per turn by deleting one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon. For each of your Digimon, add 1 to the maximum level of this Digimon you can choose with this effect. So basically, the wider your board goes, the scarier this gets. So because of the deleting your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon, you unsuspend. This gets nutty quickly. It's a very scary deck because of this, but it also has a unique condition. Your turn, the condition to end the turn becomes your opponent having 3 or more memory. So basically, if you want, you can always pass turn to set them to 3 because that's just mandatory game state. But your condition to end your turn becomes that now means that even if you just go to 1, you can still play out. You have at least 2 more memory to play with. You know, that's kind of huge. Sometimes you just needed a little extra just to go off, and this allows you to do it. Especially with trainings in the format, you can definitely set up to a point where, oh, yeah, I can now Digivolve for 2 more to get this up even more powerful. You know, stuff like that does lead into being vital, especially how the playstyle of this deck wants to do. Then we're getting into the first ace that I think is really good, Magnamon Ace. So this card is going to be a mainstay in most yellow builds. You know, you have vaccine types, you have plenty of, you know, Setcon is going to want to play this. There's going to be a lot of ways of getting around this. So, you know, it's an Archangel, it's a vaccine, so it's kind of going to be beneficial in almost any deck that is a vaccine, that uses these combo pieces and stuff like that. So, Blast Digievolution basically means you can Digivolve on your opponent's turn. It's like a hand trap in this game. It's not bad, it's finally some interaction in the game. And then on play, when Digivolving, if you have 5 or fewer security, recovery 1, then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for each card in your security stack for the turn. So this thing gives a minus 5000 DP. So this could remove a smaller threat or a bigger threat, depending on what happens. You know, it's the big guy with, you know, 12,000 DP. Boom, now it's down to, what, 7,000? Very easy to be knocked out by most threats. And then the ace mechanic for its inheritable effect, or just basically in general effect, is Overflow 3. When this card is sent from battle area or under your card to other places, lose 3 memory. So this is just vitally strong. I think this is very important to take in the account, is that we will be having overflow mechanic. You're going to lose 3 memory. There's no way of getting around this. And this is just vital in all mainstays. I think this has a lot of potential, and it's going to be very useful. So Magnamon Ace is probably a mainstay, and that's why it's on this list. Then we have Zudomon Ace. This is our Magnamon Ace is number 4. It's another Ace card, but this card is very powerful. This card benefits so many blue decks, it's not even funny. You will find people just trying to find room to make this card playable. So on play, when Digivolving, trash 2 Digievolution cards from under your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digievolution cards to hand, then overflow 3. So being able to strip 2 cards of your choice is huge. Being able to take out, against Mugen, you take out Magnamon and Chaosdramon X, boom, now they're behind. If they're on, well, not Chaosdramon X, Magnamon and Chaosdramon out, they have no protections, and you can just easily get it off the board then. You know, stuff like this does mean a lot in some circumstances. Or, you know, there's a champion swinging in, just removing the 2 and you bounce the champion off the board. The champion's gone, the attack doesn't go through. You know, all this stuff adds up eventually. And especially how source stripping is scary, especially in Blue Flare. You know, we have Blue Hybrid back at full strength because Tommy's off the list. You know, stuff like this is going to matter, and, you know, you can also play this with Melga, Mirage Galga, you know, you can play this with All Force, you can play this with any blue deck. You find room for this card because this ace is just that strong. It is one of the more powerful cards. And you might be wondering, if this is your number 4 and you're giving so much praise to this, what are your other picks? Well, let's get into it. Our number 3 pick is Patamon itself. Patamon is another kind of like Zudomon situation. Patamon, if you are playing any form of vaccine, you are playing this card. If your deck has room to splash vaccine, has vaccine in its traits in its champion line at all, you are playing this card. Your yellow deck will want to play this deck. So start of your main, look at your security. This Digimon may Digivolve into a yellow Digimon card with vaccine in its traits among them without paying its cost. Then shuffle your security stack. If Digivolving with this effect, you may place 1 yellow card with vaccine in its traits from your hand at the bottom of your security stack. Then once per turn, when a card is added to your security stack, gain a memory. See, what's crazy is how this card interacts, is that basically because you take the card out and then you Digivolve, you then basically take, you know, shuffle your security stack and then recover. It self-fulfills its own effect. These are scary cards. When cards self-fulfill their own effects, you get really crazy shenanigans, and being able to put a yellow card with vaccine at the bottom instantly now makes it valuable. You draw your card, instantly do that, and then boom, you're all set, and your opponent's just looking at you going like, well, that's just a lot of things just happened. Patamon fills a lot of its own effects. It is scary. It's very powerful. I think that anybody that's sleeping on Patamon is crazy. Patamon can just be its own Digitama by itself, you know, rookie by itself with the Digitama, and you're really just going to town. Certain decks just take advantage of this, changes up ratios very easily if you wanted to. It becomes a lot of thinking. Patamon's just scary because the free evolution is nasty as can be, just because that means like Godomon, you know, from the starter deck, basically being able to get into further evolutions for free gets scarier. Patamon being able to Digivolve into Angemon Secret, or, you know, any, you know, Geograve with the take a tamer out, because you're seeing what's in your security multiple times. You'll be knowing what your stack is going to be like very quickly, and being able to filter out and boom, 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 boom. You can set up and be very scary with it. You know, Patamon does do a lot for a lot of yellow decks, and it'll be future supported, and it doesn't matter. It's got a lot of potential, and you can tell that yellow really definitely got a good sizable support this format. Then number 2, it's got to be Bukamon. Bukamon is very powerful. This is a blue egg that you're not getting rid of anytime soon. You are playing this in Mirage. You're playing this in All Force. You may play this in Blue Flare. Blue Hybrid, you are playing this for sure. any blue deck going in the future, you want this card. There is very little reason to get off this card now, because while your opponent has no Digimon with equal or more Digivolution cards than this Digimon gains jamming. Blue has the ability to OTK like crazy. This is kind of just how it goes. You know, Garurumon, you're going to be playing Bukamon. There's no reason not to if you're playing blue. There's just too much benefits for playing blue, and this card being your Digitamon. You know, when Upamon was the egg to be, this is just straight up gas. This card is just ridiculously strong, and there's no reason to never not play another blue egg. This is why I'm saying I brought it to 2, because there's no reason for you to play any other blue egg now. There's no reason. Jamming is huge, and being able to basically deal damage constantly. Your opponent doesn't have anything on board, boom, you can swing in and do that. You're always jamming, doesn't matter. And because of the source stripping that basically Zudomon gives, you're setting up. What is your opponent going to do? Your opponent doesn't have a lot of options, and they can't stop this. This is basically, you can remove sources, remove them off, jamming, you know, swing in with Zudomon Ace that you basically stripped out the 2, and then boom, your opponent's just now less sources, they can't do anything, you're swinging in, and then boom, jamming. The card didn't die overflow because they hit your big guy. The only thing is you don't have options playing in the deck. You know, this is huge. This is huge thinking and critical thinking when it comes down to the part, but I think number 2 slot had to go to Bukamon. And then finally, our number 1 slot has to go to the trainings. All the trainings are monocolor theme, and any deck that is basically can splash in either or is massive. So being able to play offensive training, you know, wisdom, defense, agility, mental, all these cards are really good cards at the end of the day. Revealing the top 2 cards of your deck, add one of the correct color depending on what training you're using to, you know, red, blue, yellow, green, black, purple, you know, all really good. And then you have the main delay effect of basically one of your Digimon may digivolve into a red card in your hand by paying the Digivolution cost. When digivolving with this effect, reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. Just a small heads up and friendly reminder, this does not count like how HPD operates. This is not how that works. The fact that you, as the player, cannot use the trainings to digivolve hybrid. You cannot do that. So anybody do that, tell them they're wrong. It's in the rules. It says it's a no-no. Do not do that. Do not allow that. Just so you guys have an understanding. I don't want you guys getting screwed over by somebody trying to go, oh, hybrid for free? No. Doesn't work like that. Don't let them do that. They're going to screw you over. Don't do that. But all in all, these cards basically become mainstay for OVs. Same thing with Bukamon, but because the trainings are so vital, you want to have basically, you want to be playing them at 4 in most lists. There's no reason not to. If you're not playing them, you're not fast enough. That is kind of the thing. Yes, I know these are promos at the top of box topper of BT-14, but buy 4 boxes. If you were buying product anyway, boom, you're all set. So guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. What are your number 10 top 10s? Maybe there might be some differences, but I think number 1 kind of fits where it needs to, right? So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!